Hello, everyone. I am Elif Köse, and this is Confidence Leads to Success. I am so excited to have, simply known as a ball of fire, Bernadette Boas. She is a business success coach, an author, and TV host, radio and TV host. Hi, Bernadette.
Hi, how are you?
I am so good to have you. I just would like you to share your 25 years of corporative savviness and how your entrepreneurial spirit helps and transform other people, other female coaches.
Yes.
Is so phenomenal, and I am one of your fans. So I'd love you to share your wisdom. By asking you my first question of what does confidence mean to you?
Oh, great question. Great question. What does confidence mean to me? I think confidence, my heart is like right now, like pumping really fast because it just got me so excited when you asked that question. Because I think confidence is just when you're extremely firm and committed to what it is you're doing, regardless of all the noise around you. And, confidence allows you to, if not eliminate, let's be real here. Okay. None of us are stone, but at least if it allows it to be minimized significantly to where it doesn't stop us from moving forward. I think that's what confidence is just that grounding.
It's so important for me, for people, women, to have confidence because I know how much it leads to success.
Right.
This was the whole reason I called my interview series Confidence Leads to Success. And I know for you, success in business and in life has got nothing to do with skill set, you always say, and everything to do with their mindset. And confidence comes in the mindset. So I'd love you to tell us a bit more about your beliefs in that.
Well, it took me a good 48 years to have that understanding. So if you're not there yet, after a couple of years, do not worry about it because it took me seriously. I truly grew up and I operated, whether it was in my family of 14, because I'm one of 12 children. Yes, or it was when I went off to college and to, started my corporate career, because I was in corporate as early as 2021. I was still in college, actually. And I just thought that all I needed to do was have all the skills that was necessary in order to continue climbing the corporate ladder. And so everything that I did was focused on getting those skills. It could be communication skills, it could be public speaking skills, it could be leadership skills, but I never linked what, all the belief systems, all the emotions, all the feelings, all the thoughts, all the words that led to all the actions that we would be taking. I didn't connect the fact that what was going on inside me was what was happening, and I was projecting out into the world. And so when I was fired by my mentor of 12 years in 2008, I had to take a really hard look at what the heck just happened. And because I was a massive producer, as I always say, massive producer. I was a revenue generator. I was the perfect employee, perfect contributor, perfect doer. And yet at the same time, here I was, climbing the corporate ladder, VP, C-level executive, and I'm let go. So I spent a good amount of time in 2008, really kind of what I call excavating my soul, trying to understand what was going on. Why did that just happen? Why did I lose my career? Why did I lose my identity? Why did I lose everything that I had known for 25 years, at least from a business perspective? And it was on a morning run with my 12-year-old pup at the time when I came face to face with the woman in the mirror, and she was not pretty. And I reconciled that all of my belief systems, my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts were in such a negative space that until I changed that, I wasn't going to kind of change what was going on around me. And long story short, because there's a lot more layers we can get into around this. Long story short, I realized that I needed to focus on my inside. I didn't need to focus on my skills. I had skills. We all have skills.
Exactly.
And if we don't have the skills, we can learn the skills.
Exactly.
So I had to start doing a lot of internal work. And that's what caused me to pivot my belief systems, that I was out there even coaching and consulting on skills. And I thought, that's not what women need. They need to have an empowered, bold, courageous, determined
mindset. So
yes.
That's what causes you to be so passionate about empowering others' mindset. It makes so much sense. Yeah. It's having been through all these yourself. Mm-hmm. And how many of us feel not good enough, not enough of whatever that is they're trying to achieve in their life, not skinny enough, not pretty enough, not skillful enough. It's actually all comes down to your mindset.
Right.
I love that. Can I just wanted to tell our listeners that Bernadette has actually written the series of books called Shedding the Corporate Bitch. I love the name of it. It's so fun. I want to ask you, what provoked you to write Shedding the Corporate Bitch? What was the reason?
It was that excavation of the soul journey I went on. I mean, when I realized and I came face to face with the woman in the mirror who was this nasty corporate bitch, tyrant, bully, whatever you want to call her, I thought to myself, that's not who I am. That's not who I truly am.
Is it almost like expectation of the society and the corporate world of you, but not really you?
No.
Was that it?
I wish I could blame. I wish I could use as an excuse that, oh, well, you were a woman, you felt like you had to be that way in order to succeed. I would love it to be that, because that's kind of an easy out for many people, is to blame someone else. I just found in my early 20s, when I went down to actually my late teens, early 20s, and I moved off from my family, and I went down to college in Boca Raton, Florida. And I was surrounded by these kids who had anything and everything that they wanted. And here's this middle-class kid, one of 12, hand-me-downs, coming into this environment. And I kind of was like, I want everything that they've got. I want everything they have. And yet I noticed at the same time that the way they went about getting what they wanted was in a pretty kind of self-entitled, nasty way. I'll just leave it at that. And I made a decision that, well, I wanted that, and therefore, and I need to do this obviously to get it, and therefore I'll do that. But I thought it was like a temporary mask. Like I thought it was just kind of a, almost like a one-act play. And in act 2, I would, kind of remove that mask and move on. And that just didn't happen. It started to instill itself, embed itself within me. And so I just kind of went down. And the next thing you know, I was succeeding in business. I was succeeding both at work and at home. My bank account was full. My, houses were pretty. And I traveled the world. And I thought, well, it's working for me. But you get to also a point where you don't even recognize that you've chosen a path that's really not working for you. You're so deep in it that you don't even notice that why you're miserable is because what you're creating in your universe, by the people, the places, the things, your mindset. If you're sharing that the only way for you to succeed and get what you want is to be nasty or rude or whatever the case might be, well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be nasty and rude, and you're going to attract nasty and rude. And
Thank
so,
you for that, being so open. And I'm sure so many women who are in that world are probably finding themselves waking up to misery, not knowing why.
mhm,
It
mhm.
is so. So, how is your entrepreneurial journey going?
Um,
How?
it's going fabulously. So I'll really briefly answer your initial question, which was, so when I started realizing that I had taken a path that really wasn't truly authentically me, I needed to purge it. And the only way to purge it is, I'm a journal writer. I've been journaling since I was about 8. My dad kind of passed it down to me. And so I just started writing. And then I thought to myself, you know what? Other people could learn from this. Other people can kind of gain some insights and some ideas around my own experience. So why don't I just put this in writing to share with everyone else around me? And that's where the book Shedding the Corporate Bitch came from, is just wanting to ensure that other people who might have been dealing with the same type of experiences weren't choosing the wrong path. And then that really kind of propelled my whole entrepreneurial experience, because I started my podcast, Shedding the Bitch, radio and TV, because I wanted to market my book. So then I have my book out there, which started with my coaching and my training and my workshops and my speaking. So it's just been a very organic, journey that I've been on from an entrepreneurial experience. And it's been fabulous. It's been hard. It's been scary at times. It's been painful at times. But I just always ground myself in why I'm doing what I'm doing and what really kind of creates the passion within me. And that allows me to push through and have that confidence that no matter what is happening, good, bad, or ugly, I'm going to just stay the course and push through and succeed.
I love your journey. I love your honesty and openness about finding yourself and finding your own mindset, how it was taking you to different direction, what wasn't making you happy, and that constant, that realization has brought you to where you are now, which you are doing what you're passionate about. And it makes you happy rather than miserable. And you don't have to be nasty. You don't have to be that expected. I don't know. I've never worked in corporate world myself. I've only got 9 months of experience working for a big company back in Istanbul, and I didn't like it. It wasn't me. So my journey to entrepreneurial life has had to be my only way. So I don't know, but what I've noticed, because I dress a lot of women who are in this world, feel that they have to be in that kind of mask, like you described, to get through and keep building their skill set and keep building their beings in that harsh and aggressive, to get to the next level, but they weren't being happy. So I know they're all gonna love this episode, because it's so many people find themselves with these stories. So it's so beautiful. So I just want to ask you one question. So if you had the chance to do it all over again in your journey, what would you do?
The same exact thing.
Same exactly.
Same exact thing. I don't have regrets. I don't even really understand. I understand the concept of what regrets are, but I truly, because people will challenge me on this all the time. Oh, you have to have regret something. What about that time? And I'm like, yeah, no. I just feel that every experience in our lives is there to teach us something. And so, I look back and I wouldn't change a thing. I would want my other self to go through all of that, because it brought me to be, and I don't care if it's at 59, which I'm 59 now. It started when I was about 46, I guess. But I wouldn't want it to be any different. I can't even imagine myself being any different, because I loved corporate. I loved it. I was good at it. I just wasn't good at some elements of it. And then I wasn't actually, I need to say this based on what you just said earlier. I definitely believe now that you don't have to be anything but yourself to succeed. Corporate, entrepreneurial, doesn't matter. But so those who are feeling as if they do have to mask like I did need to then focus on the mindset and not the skill set. But therefore I just wouldn't change anything, because it's brought me to this kind of unfolding, I guess, and this, kind of knowing, and to the point of this conversation in your show, it's brought me to this level of confidence. I mean, I know exactly who I am. There's still more growth for me.
There is nothing more powerful than that.
Right.
Knowing who you are and knowing
Right.
what you want and where
Right.
you want to go and who you want to help is just the clarity, and that is very powerful.
Right. Yeah, I would say I would use a word for it, but I really don't want to get in, but it's just exhilarating. Let's just draw it from that. It really is. It's not to say I don't have more growth, not to say I don't have my own insecurities about certain things, but those are minimal compared to my overall confidence and self-belief within myself.
I love it, because a lot of people, like you say, would like to think that if they did something differently, they would be in a different position. But everything we experience in life is actually shaping us to be the person who we are today. So I know that I wouldn't be myself, who I am today, if everything didn't happen to me in the last 12, 14 years, or my entire 38 years in my life, to the family I was born into, the city I was moved to, everything. It just shapes us to be who we are.
Right. And why would we want to change that? And we
don't even know what change that would happen.
Right. And
do you know?
No. And if we don't like where we are right now, and I'm speaking to everybody now, if you don't like where you are right now, then really look inward and ask yourself, who am I? Who do I want to be? Who do I not want to be? What do I want? What do I not want? And then just go for it. Just do what you need to do each and every day to work toward creating the life that you want, as opposed to having to rely on the past, whether you're grasping at the past joys that you might have had that you don't have now, or you're using it, in a victimhood type of way, like, oh, woe is me, that happened to me in the past, and therefore I can't be any different right now. And you don't want to be grasping at the future, because it's just not here. And God knows it'll change in, a split second. So focus on being here right now. And if it's not where you want to be, or at the stage you want to be, then just identify what it is that you need to change. Or a lot of
people I speak to, Bernadette, with your years of experience and wisdom, and you are an amazing coach yourself, and you help so many female entrepreneurs. A lot of women I speak to would always say, yeah, but I don't know how to even get mindset to say I'm not. That courage, how could they find that courage in themselves to get to that next level?
Take one step. Okay, you don't know how. How is the last thing you need to be worried about? How is the last thing anybody needs to be worried about? Because trust me, go to YouTube, Google, and you're going to find a how. So don't use the excuse, I don't know how, because, we have opportunities sitting right here in this computer, to figure out the how. So what you need to really work on, this is what I would tell someone, what you really need to work on is, who are you? And what do you want? And why do you want it? And then after that, you can then say, okay, so now I know who I am and who I want to be and who I don't want to be. That's key too, who I don't want to be. That was the big question I had to keep asking myself for a number of years. Who do I not want to be? And then there's the, what do I want? What do I truly want? And most women struggle with this because they're afraid to kind of, beat their chest and say, I want success. I want to, climb the corporate ladder. I want to own my own huge business. When I first started declaring that I wanted to be the next Oprah Winfrey, And this was like 8 years ago. Now, granted, people would come to me and go, you want to be the next Bernadette. You don't want to be and that's not what I meant. But what I was putting
I
out there.
hear you. I hear you what
Yeah,
you mean. Yeah.
right. And so, and people were like, that's awfully arrogant of you. I'm like, well, that's your opinion.
No,
But
you're forever gonna be, wanting to grow yourself.
yeah,
It's nothing to do with being somebody.
yes,
You're
yes,
seeing the power and humble personality of Oprah, because I love her, I absolutely adore her. And you want to be in that position, not because you want to be another Oprah. You're gonna
no,
be,
right,
of course,
right,
your Bernadette, your
correct,
version of that powerful, inspiring woman, to remind everyone that their
right.
mindset is what's going to get them to next level.
Yeah. Yeah. Their true self is going to get them to the next level. So figure out the who, figure out the what, and then figure out why. Why do you want what you want? Or why do you want to be the person you want to be? And figure those three things out. Because then the next thing you do, you go to Google and figure out how. How do I go about doing that?
Yeah.
And trust
I
me, there
think
are more resources out there than you know.
you're right. Just Google it. Anything you want to know, you can Google it. What I was going to ask you, a lot of people, when they ask these questions, they're quite deep questions, even though they might come across very simple. You really have to be vulnerable,
Mm.
don't you, with yourself? And sometimes what I would say, I don't know if you would agree, that you need to be true to yourself and, if necessary, speak out to find the truth. So how could they get over that vulnerable level?
Well, I'll go back to my journaling. I didn't realize the power of journaling and what I was doing for so many years. Like I said, I started when I was 8. I have hundreds up in my attic, in boxes. I have hundreds of, full journals. And I have about 30 that I keep close by, but I never read them. I write, I purge, and then I kind of put
So
aside.
what's the purpose of it? You're writing, you're just wanting to clear your head, never
Just
gonna
to
go
clear
read
my
it?
head, clear my heart, kind of get everything out that's either holding me back, or the fact that I want to keep as much space open in my heart and my head for new things to come in. So I want to, kind of definitely purge those things that are really kind of weighing me down, as much as I want to also, kind of purge and celebrate what good is happening in my life. I call it honoring your riches and shedding your bitches. So I do, so I all of a sudden realized when I started writing the book, I leaned back onto my previous journals, and I leaned back in there to really understand who I was during those years that I made this transformation into a, pretty nasty woman. And so that was the first time ever I had read anything that I had written in those journals since I was 8. And so ever since then, I just continue, because it's just a natural part of me to continue journaling. So I think what someone could do first is between you and a journal. You don't, and therefore you can cry, you can laugh, you could feel shameful, you can hurt by just letting it out, getting it out on paper. Don't, and just scribble. Don't look at it. Don't edit it. It's not to be pretty. It's not to be shared. Just let it out. And if that's not working for you, then you can seek professional help, certainly, to do it. But there's a lot of places that you can find the questions that you should be asking yourself, so you can just start journaling and purging. That's what I call excavating the soul. Just dig deep, ask the hard questions that are going to maybe rip you apart, like they did me and or many people. But at the same time, once you let them go, once you rip, it's amazing how all of a sudden all that angst, all that fear, all that doubt, all that insecurity, all that imposter syndrome just kind of floats away.
It's so good. Oh my God. Thank you so much for that. I remember when I was going through a difficult patch in my life, and a friend of mine said to me, why don't you, because she could see that I was keeping everything to myself and trying to look strong and be strong and not cry, and that going through that was probably the hardest part in my life. And she told me, why don't you just write it all down? And if you're worried that somebody's going to read them, just burn it, but write it down.
Absolutely. I don't burn mine,
but it helped me. I did it.
Yeah. Did you?
I did.
Good. If it helps, that's all that counts. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's awesome.
I took her advice.
My journals are left in my will. My journals are left in my will, and my will states that they can't read my journals until 5 years after my death.
In case you come back.
I just don't want them to change their opinion of me that quickly. So just wait a while and then read. But no. But burning it is a great idea. So,
I did. And do you know, I still do that to this date. If there is any thoughts in my head and I want to get it out of my chest, because once it's on paper, I feel almost sense of relief.
Yeah.
And then I burn it. I still do it.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Because you wouldn't want to be my sister in, I think I was in first year of college, and I hid my journal in our summer beach house that a bunch of us kids rented. And my sister and her now husband, I came home and found out that they had read it. Well, trust me when I say they regretted ever having read it. And I learned a big lesson to make sure it's hidden, deep from anybody.
Well, I would never dare to read anyone's journal because I know how personal it is. It's personal. It's like your closet, right. You couldn't just go in and just read it.
Right.
Perhaps that's why I'm not holding one, because when I was little, I did have one, and I noticed my mom was reading them. I used to think my mom was genius and she could see it and know everything I did. Then I realized she was reading my journal.
Oh my God. Oh.
It was her way of protecting me, she was saying back then. So I remember giving this book, the journal, to my best friend. She is my best friend still to this date. We're friends for 30 years. And they were moving away from the city. And she said to me, do you want it back? And I said to her, if I take it back, my mom will read all of it. So you have to keep it. So she's still keeping it. I don't know where it is. I must actually ask her. You reminded me.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
So amazing. Oh, it's so good to have you here with me, Bernadette. It's so good. I just want to tell my listeners that you have got some success hacks that you created with your years of experience, and you are very generously giving that for free to our listeners, and I will share the link on our notes. Perfect. Is there anything that you would want to leave the listeners with?
Well, quickly, the success hacks are all centered around your productivity at home or at work. So definitely take advantage of those. And if you have any questions in regards to them, reach out. I would just say, we all have one life to lead, and it goes really, really fast. And so why spend any amount of time, even just minutes, let alone hours, days, weeks, months, and years, not learning about who you are and not kind of digging deep, excavating the soul to really understand who you are truly meant to be and what you're so capable of and what potential you have, that would be your legacy, is just learning who you are, loving who you are, being who you are. And, at the end of the day, no one can question, because your resume and your amount of money in the bank, is not going to mean anything. So just take time each and every day. As Alif said, I focus 80% mindset, 20% business. Spend time each and every day on finding out one more thing about yourself, and or up leveling or changing or enriching one area of your life. And trust me when I say you will be a confident woman who that is led to success.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bernadette. It's been such an honor to have you.
Oh, I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I will share all your details, how they can reach out to you in every platform. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thanks.